StreamYard added a cool new function. Did it work, everybody? We were able to automatically set it to play the intro when we went live. Did you see us at all before the intro is my question?
Yeah, it looks on our side like there's a tiny sliver of like a second where we're showing. This is curiosity. We're just playing with StreamYard as it's happening. So
it's it's a cool feature that I feel like it's about time.
Do it live, and that's literally the
happy weekend, everybody. Oh my God, we already got some biggies. Boom. I like my I like both of these actually. Mm-hmm. Mike K is here saying happy Sunday, everyone. I said this already on Twitter, but I seriously cannot thank Perri enough for putting It's What's Inside on my radar. I watched it last night and it's now firmly in my top 10 favorite films of the year.
Wow. Ignoring my review at a South by. Cool.
Well,
that's a joke. It's a joke.
I was about to say you're wrong, but no, everyone's entitled to their opinions. This movie was my second favorite movie out of Sundance this year. It is very much in contention for one of my top 10 slots this year. And I have watched this movie a stupid amount of times at this point, and it is so sound and well done. Everything makes sense.
Did my old ass play Sundance?
It did. That was my number one.
I would literally was like,
isn't that the coolest thing that two of the movies that I am most sure of cracking my top 10 at this point are both Sundance movies?
Yeah. I mean, like that's, and again, we talked about this, like, I was so surprised that It's What's Inside played South by, and I had a chance to see it there, which I'm very thankful for. Like, I thought Netflix was going to pull that 100%.
How do you feel about the movie's marketing campaign thus far? Do you think they're doing a good enough job? And do you think they need to do? So you don't? You think
no one knows this movie's out? It's out already.
You think they need to do more than what they're doing?
Absolutely. Netflix does not market their films, and like. Because they market some of them, do not get me wrong. They'll make an awards push for the real big ones they want to have awards season contention for. But their horror films especially, like the platform too, and It's What's Inside both dropped this week, and no one knows they're on the platform. Everyone I used platform twice, but on the streaming platform, like everyone I talk to is like, what do you mean they're out already? I'm like, these two, one very awesome movie and one pretty bad sequel are both on the...
I heard. Someone I was speaking to recently said they don't really need to market It's What's Inside because it's Netflix and everyone will watch it.
100%.
But does that justify a crummy marketing campaign?
It justifies it
from
Netflix.
I'm talking from their perspective, from a business perspective.
From a business perspective, yes.
They spent a wild amount of money buying the movie at Sundance. They spent $17 million acquiring that.
Yeah, but they only care about their subscribers, which they have tons and tons of already. What they are doing at this point is less trying to bring people to the platform and more keeping them there and keeping them paying for higher and higher tiers. Like, I didn't upgrade to the non-ad tier yet, and I can't access certain things on Netflix because the non-ad tier will not allow some of the bigger name movies to play. I'm not even kidding. Like, if you go on now, like, I can't watch The Pope's Exorcist. I can't watch certain things because you have to be on the non-ad tier for it. So, I mean,
I love how the title you name drop is the.
Well, it was because I was updating the IGN horror list, and I noticed it immediately. But again, going back to it, like, does it make sense for Netflix not to do this? Yes, because everyone has Netflix, and they just go on and watch things. You don't have to market anything because internally the idea and what they're seeing in the data is people will watch it anyway. Is that good for the art? No, because shit goes there and dies. Like, we talk about this all the time. But
I will take it upon myself to blab away about It's What's Inside and how good it is. We're going to end today's show with that because we're going to do half non-spoiler review and then we're going to do half spoiler. And for anybody who hasn't seen the movie, that's why we're keeping it at the end of the show. So you can enjoy most of Merri Hour and then not have the movie ruined for you.
Fucking Mike.
Everything okay over there? Matt and Amelia are playing. Oh, is that the Patreon one?
Yeah, we're playing each other Patreon. Amelia just said we're 50 and 50.
I need to see.
I have. If you see me glancing over, I'm watching the Texans game on a TV with mute, so that I am highly.
Oh shit!
Yeah, we're in it.
Wait.
Are we split 50-50? Yeah, we are. Yeah. We're literally 50-50 there.
I'm gonna make a prediction right now.
Go ahead, make a prediction.
Let's see. Based on who you.
I need big things to happen.
Based on who you have left. Oh, Matt, you just went into the red, like literally this second.
Okay, so I'm not worried about it until after the second games go. Like, that's the thing.
Swift makes me nervous.
Well, Swift is almost done though.
Yeah.
Oh, Mark Andrews did something. Holy shit. 55 yards. Good for you. Leggett went down.
Amelia, don't hate me, but I think if I had to make a prediction right now, I might lean in Matt's direction. Because James Conner's been doing well.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll be okay.
Yeah, no. That's fair. That's fair.
Fucking win's a win.
Yeah.
I believe I beat you earlier in the season, good sir.
No, we didn't play each other yet.
Yeah, we did in the other league.
In the other league.
Oh, in the other league. Yeah, probably.
Man, I love fantasy football.
Yeah.
Oh.
I just put our next one up.
Perri, I saw My Old Ass this week with my sister, and we loved
My
it.
Old
One of
Ass.
my favorite films of the year, and your coverage interviewing the cast and crew was fantastic. Keep up the great work. I appreciate you saying that, Max, and I'm so happy you saw My Old Ass and you loved it. I will obviously continue to blab about this one, but one of my biggest dreams for this movie is at the very least we get an Indie Spirit Awards push or something where the movie gets recognition in that realm, because even though if I were a voting member of the Academy, I would vote for it. There's a lot of competition this year, and I fear it will not crack that race, but I want to see it get all the love and attention it deserves.
I saw the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
I did. It was up a little early. It was on a little early for me. Sorry, I'm just.
No, I watched. I watched a lot of it. I watched while I was on the bike, which is always bad because like when I get on the bike, that's like my bike time. Like you zone in, and I kept
sports are great for that.
I kept like looking over though, and I shouldn't have done that. But what happened?
It's fine.
Okay, it's fine.
Okay,
it's fine.
There's almost a touchback. There's 20.
Oh, it's safety. Yeah.
16 seconds left in this fucking game.
Well, and before it goes into OT.
Is anyone else watching
Sorry.
Buffalo and Houston play?
It's a Texans household.
Living Dead Jake says, Matt, I still think VHS 2 is the best safe haven.
Again, VHS 2 is one of the better ones, no doubt. Like it's up there for me. Like saying what I said last week very quickly, I did a rewatch and some of it doesn't play as well. I don't know why. I gotta do a rewatch. The slumber party alien thing. Just I remember loving it, and I watched it back, and I kind of was like, what did I love about this? So that was the clinching factor, honestly. Just that one being a little less solid, let's say. So yeah, we'll talk about VHSs later.
A full rewatch.
Ooh, I have a few here.
You go first.
Crap, I'm blanking on one's name. Let me grab my phone very quickly because I want to get it right.
You're getting good questions. Ooh, someone says their number one is still Ghostlight. I still have to watch St. Francis. I'm sorry, Amelia. But what was the trade-off that you didn't watch?
Where's my letterbox? Where's my horror?
I can't
Let's
remember,
go.
but you haven't watched St. Francis yet.
I
think it might have been like 2 episodes of Ghost.
Possibly.
Something.
It is. I swear. I think about it often. I just need you know what? Maybe I'll watch it on the way to Disney World. That'll be my first treat of the trip.
If we're talking about.
We're taking a red eye to Disney World. You're sleeping on the way to Disney World.
I need to watch something and then fall asleep though. While whatever I take to fall asleep. No, not during the movie. Fine.
All right.
We'll figure it out. I'll watch it.
Going back to this,
yes,
the actual question. I was Tubi originals for a while have been rough. Let's just be straight up honest. And I think they're having a good year this year. And one of the ones I do want to call out is Slay, and it's very easily.
I have not seen that.
It's fun. Yeah, it's fun. It's very easily I think it's 4 drag queens are going to do a show, and they book the wrong venue, and they end up in this little roadside pit stop in a very non-accepting part of the world, let's say, or America, not the world. And it's from dusk till dawn, but with drag queens. Vampires attack the pit stop, and it's the drag queens having to come together with, again, the very non-accepting people, and they learn things along the way about each other. And it sounds hokey as hell, but I really like how the film clearly does not have the budget it needs to pull off what it does, but the performances are really strong. You'll recognize the drag queens from like RuPaul and stuff. Like they're all prominent drag queens, and the comedy just worked way better than I expected. So I think Slay is up there for me.
Okay, I'm gonna take that. I'm trying to think of another example, but the first one that came to my mind was Love Lies Bleeding.
I absolutely put that in there.
I just adore every big swing they all take in that movie, and it's just like one heck of a powerhouse idea made by such a singular voice behind the lens. I love Rose Glass.
Yeah, obviously I wanted to put again, interpretations are interpretations, but I saw the TV Glow. That one did a good job, I believe. It's very out there, don't get me wrong, and there are so many other readings on it too that go read every review for that one, because there are some really good takes on both sides of it. I'm just looking through all like my horror movies I saw this year.
Every single time I see this spreadsheet, I'm like, I should make something like this. And then
this
I can't even keep a damn letterbox going for a whole year. And aggro drift is always at the bottom.
Aggro drift is dog shit. Yeah. So like I don't have to go past the 3s, but I'm just like I think Slay is mine. I'm gonna stick with Slay.
Okay, and I'll stick with Love Lies Bleeding.
Yeah.
All right, take us back.
Yeah, I'm back.
Thanks. I think we have one. We have one more.
Yep. Two more actually. I think. Or no.
All right, we did Max. We did Mike. We did Jake.
Vincent.
Fucking reversed scroll, man.
Down is up.
Hey guys, saw The Substance, loved it, and holy shit. All of that, Vincent. I second it. I second it. That's another one that's probably going to be in contention for my top of the year. It's
literally like,
and you know, that's a genre film that I'm starting to believe does have a chance of teetering into the Oscar conversation.
I still can't go there.
I will fully recognize all of the typical red flags that keeps a movie like that from getting an Oscar nomination, but I do think it's got a better chance than many others that face similar problems in recent years. I think the Demi Moore of it all is giving it like a nice little bump.
It being a movie also doesn't give me hope where it's not one of the normal studios, let's say, that would get the attention.
Yeah.
So I think honestly the distro
that is a concern,
and the film itself being a horror film, I think both of those are holding it back. So I don't see it getting in there. I would love that. Don't get me wrong.
We'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
There's
always time for a surprise to come
changes. What do you want to talk about next? You want to tell everybody about Creep LA?
Yeah, we can do whatever you want.
Yeah. So I was about to say it was my very first haunt. I think it was my very first haunt of the year, actually, because I've been away all of September. I went to my first haunt of 2024, and that was your first? No, you went to Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
It was the collaboration between Ghosts, the CBS show that I absolutely love, that a lot of you already know, and Creep LA, JFI Productions. They came together and they made a Halloween haunt in Los Angeles for 2024, and it was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
It was great. I feel like the more well-known thing is when an amusement park turns itself into Halloween mode and you walk through mazes. For anyone who hasn't done like a more experiential theater type haunt, that's what this is, where it is much more heavy. I mean, I was about to say much more heavy on the production design element, but that's not true. Halloween Horror Nights is as well.
No, yeah.
It's much more storytelling and performance based. And with this particular one, we basically walked through a house that I thought was impeccably designed. And then at each stage, we got these like mini stories about people who have passed on, and they were all really good. And there were some really great like comedic and scare beats and interactive elements. And the group we went through, I thought was really fun to be with.
Yeah. What Creep LA does really well. So this is my third Creep LA production. And it's not outright just scary in your face, where like Halloween Horror Nights is not trying to tell you a story. It is just trying to jump scare you. And like, it's fun. Don't get me wrong. The
Weeknd was trying to tell a story.
Well, sorry. Maybe they were trying to tell a story, but Halloween Horror Nights is very scare forward, where what Creep LA does, it really emphasizes the immersive elements of it. So the scare actors are just as good as like acting out, in the basement, there is this like blacksmith who lost his lover, and them acting that out in front of you and where it goes is very nice. And as you exit, it's about like mortality and death, and like this one woman seeing her life flash in front of her, and you like see the beginning, and there's the elder actress at the end playing her in a deathbed, and it's like, holy fuck, what is happening here? Like, there's a lot to take in. So what they are going through is you're part of it, I guess to say. And like they do a good job like really immersing you in that, and then also giving you a few haunts like here and there. What?
Waiting so patiently.
They did tell a story.
All right. We'll get back. We'll get to Horror Nights again.
Oh.
The Bloodlines one. But yeah, sorry. For Creep LA, I mean, if you have the chance to do anything, like obviously you're in Los Angeles, seek them out, because they do some really interesting melding of giving you the jolts, but giving you a really just like in-depth story as you're going through it. So I wouldn't say they're the scariest of the haunts. I would say that they are one of the best at like bringing you through the entire like I don't know. It's the experience.
You're
is what to call
essentially
it.
stepping, if for the way that this story is structured, you're essentially stepping right smack in the middle of a short film unfolding around you and making you a part of it too. Like that was some of the best stuff, is when you do these immersive theater experiences and the actors interact with you and you know, they improv based on the group that they're with, and like there's some singular experiences. Like at one point our group was split up and we got one experience, but the other half of the group got something we don't even know what it was. It was really cool. Really, really well done. And then also the hangout area was really nice. You know, like it felt a little bit like you were stepping into the B&B in Ghosts. And we had some drinkies, we took some photos, we hung out. It was a really lovely evening.
This was better. Creep LA also did I know what you did last summer event last year, I believe it was 2 years ago. And again, it was them trying to turn that show into something. And I think they did a lot better job with Ghost, let's say. So Creep LA, do it.
Yeah, highly recommend that. A lot of the slots are sold out, but there are tickets available. So I definitely recommend going to their website and seeing where you can book yourself in.
Yeah.
Right after we did that, we went straight to Halloween Horror Nights, and we were there for a good while.
Love it.
I just can't get enough of Halloween Horror Nights. I had so much fun.
What was your maze?
Shit.
What
was the last maze? The luchador maze we did?
Yeah,
I like that one the best.
So I think last year my favorite maze at Horror Nights was they did a Latin American Monsters maze, and this year they did the second version of that. So it's just really well done with the production design there.
I thought that one was great, and I love that we walked out into a scare zone, because this year it was very light on scare zones. Like I do think the centerpiece scare zone where they did their show with the flames and everything, I thought that was a really good way to kick off your night.
Orlando.
But other than that, there wasn't any.
Orlando greatly trumps Hollywood when you're talking about scare zones. Like Orlando goes all out with scare zones, and you're immersed into whatever it is. Hollywood, they seem like an afterthought, and it's always such a bummer where you're walking around just Universal Studios and there's someone with a chainsaw every now and then. So the Luchadors is the one good scare zone this year, I think. And you are surrounded by all these cool like movie posters / wrestling poster things. They do a good job melding both of those. Like, you know, the Wolfman is dressed in a luchador outfit, and he comes up to you and starts like flexing on you and stuff. So it's very good.
I really enjoyed the Insidious maze, and I think it's because of what you had told me about it before I went in, that it was a little more, you know, production design leaning, and because I love that franchise so much that it is just fun to walk around and see all of that in front of your eyes. So I did really like that. There was one that I was like, why the fuck did you like this? Oh, it was the
dead exposure one wasn't as good this time. It's unfortunate because I was talking to Perri, and like I was hyping up, or sorry, I was anti-hyping up, I guess, the Eternal Bloodlines maze, which was a Universal Monsters maze that is all of the it is like Dracula's daughter, it is Frankenstein's bride, it's all the women of Universal Horror in a single maze. And when we did it the first time, it had to be a switchover because our group went through it, and the first half of the maze had no scares, and we're looking at the little windows where they would pop out, and like no one was popping out. So it got to the point where we're just staring at the windows like, all right, is someone gonna jump at us? Like, what's gonna happen? So this second time around, it was really cool to see that, you know, we're going through it, and yes, there were people in those windows. We finally got those scares, like, and we're like, okay, cool. It does depend when you go. So I don't know, it's a thing of when you go to Halloween Horror Nights, just remember that you could be going at a bad time for a maze, so don't 100% hold it against it. But yeah, so Dead Exposure was my favorite when I went the time before, and the first thing I loved was like this giant mutant monkey that had no brain and was just bashing on the corpse, and we go into the room and the monkey's not there. I'm like, okay, so the coolest thing about this thing that started off, I'm like, what the hell? Like,
I joked about it before, but I will give The Weeknd some credit because I did not realize The Weeknd was such a big genre fan, and I also do appreciate a maze that has some really big and unique creative swings, and that one most certainly had them. So I did think that one was pretty solid.
Yeah, I think The Weeknd now is 2 for 2 on mazes. They're fucked up. They're out there.
I didn't go to the first one, but I did like this. I kind of want to experience it because it's supposed to be a trilogy.
Right. Yeah.
So I'm a little bummed that I didn't.
Don't worry, the continuity is not paramount.
but I will say A+ for the chicken tenders. A+
That are
for
always
the
there.
what did I get the tiki at the tiki place?
I think you got just
Whatever the
regular,
pineapple
the regular
was
one.
wonderful.
Yeah.
And then also A+ for the can that you introduced me to.
Oh, the Cutwater.
I've never had one
can.
before. I was a little intimidated by the percentage on the can.
Yeah, Cutwater. You have one of those, you're in good. Honestly, for horror nights,
quite perfect for that.
Yeah, it was a Cutwater Mai Tai, and it was just they're 12% in a can, and they're like when you're at horror nights, you can't have like a tall boy or anything because you have to obviously get rid of the drink before you go into a maze. So it's perfect. We had a maze with a 20-minute wait. We had a Cutwater.
Yeah, it was fun.
Solid.
I enjoyed it quite a bit. Another wonderful night at Halloween Horror Nights. Big thanks to the team at Universal Studios Hollywood for having us.
I would go back.
I would go back.
I would go back every weekend if I had.
Oh, I 100% would.
I would
in a heartbeat.
Honestly, if I had the chance, I would just go and drink with the luchadors for like an entire night. That's all I would do.
I would definitely go back once a week if I could. I will say I was wiped the fuck out yesterday.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. You don't realize you're walking around all night.
You're walking around all night. You're having some drinkies, and then on top of that, because everything is so loud there, you're shouting.
Yeah.
I woke up and like the first words that came out of my mouth yesterday, I'm like, oh no, what's wrong with me?
No, straight up.
And I felt fine. We had many reviews to do. I don't even remember. I do want to know what you think about the platform too, though. Okay, I haven't watched it yet, and I was a massive fan of that first film.
I've already looked this up a billion
Little
times.
Bites.
There are 15 new horror movies that are available right now, and that is VOD, that is streaming, that is whatever you want to do. Oh yeah,
we did VHS last week, so we don't have to revisit that one.
Yeah. I'm gonna read off how many things released this week because it is fucking crazy. On Screenbox, number one.
What the fuck is Crackoon?
Crackoon.
I kind of want to watch that.
He's a cracked out raccoon that starts spreading rabies. It literally is a cocaine bear ripoff, but
I'll take it.
No, I did not watch Crackoon yet. We'll watch Crackoon if you want to. It's unhinged. It looks unhinged.
Yeah.
Anyway, so Crackoon on Screenbox. Sorry. We have The Curse of the Necklace.
The Netflix.
Curse
that
of the
could be a
Necklace.
movie I'd watch.
It just looks like it's Warner Brothers, but they released it on VOD, so that's available. Madeline McGraw and Violet McGraw are in it, and it is I think more folkloric 1930s horror film. So you got that.
House of Spoils.
Go
watch that.
That's on Prime Video. We have Salem's Lot. That is now on Max. Salem's Lot is very boring, so don't prioritize it.
Hold Your Breath. Have you seen Hold Your Breath?
I have not seen Hold Your Breath yet, but that is also on Hulu. We also have just going down at Spin the Bottle. That is on digital. So it says it's on digital October 4th.
Did not know that existed.
But so Spin the Bottle is exactly what you think it is. It's a Spin the Bottle horror movie with Final Destination elements. They are bragging like they start dying one by one based on the order of the bottle. Something like that. But you can't rent it. You have to buy it right now. So I'm just warning you because I went to watch it, but it's $15 if you want to watch it right now and you have to buy it. But that's VOD. It's What's Inside. That is available on Netflix, and we will talk about that later. The Platform 2, which is available also on Netflix, which I will get to in a little bit after this because I have fucking thoughts.
I need to know.
Yeah.
VHS
Beyond just hit Shudder. We talked about that. We'll talk about that a little later too, and that is awesome. We also have Crazy House, which is on VOD, which I watched.
I did not see that at a Sundance.
Dog shit.
Which is crazy because it is from the same duo behind Get Away, which we both liked quite a bit.
Crazy House, for those who don't know, I can go into it a little bit later, but like it's supposed to be like an American sitcom with a live studio audience. It's very Adult Swim, and then there's that home invasion in the sitcom, but is it real life? It's fucking so poorly done. Did not funny at all. Frankie Freako is available. Are they theaters? What are we at here? I just missed it. I think they're going theaters first. So Frankie Freako, if you like Astron 6 and the team who did Psycho Gorman, it is a continuation from them. It's Steven Kaczynski. Very silly. Ghoulies. A boring businessman wants to learn how to party again. So he hires a little demon and he helps him party.
Yeah.
It's very fun, sweet, kind of. It is very me. Little Bites is available on VOD and is a vampire movie produced by Cher and Chaz Bono. So literally the Cher, like that is her producing a horror movie from Spider One Power Man 5000, and I saw it at Fantastic. I did not love it. It's trying to do some good storytelling with a mother taking care of her daughter, and the vampire is a domestic abuse parallel.
Mhm.
Just goes on way too long. Like performances are solid,
long,
but it goes on way
I
too
did
long.
think Chrissy Fox was really good in it, and I like what they're trying to do. I tend to really like horror movies where it's also because the Babadook is high on my mind right now, where it takes challenging things in the real world and puts them into like a a sci-fi horror type creature. Her problems in the Babadook become the Babadook, and it's somewhat similar here. I thought it was all right.
I wanted to like this one more.
Yeah.
I did not.
I thought there were elements of it that were really creatively exciting.
So we're still talking about horror movies that came out this fucking week. Another one. Where we have Monster Summer. I didn't even know this is. I had no idea this was coming out, but it's in theaters now.
Mhm.
And when a mysterious force begins to disrupt their big summer fun, Noah and his friends team up with a retired police detective to embark on a monstrous adventure to save their island.
No, thank you.
And do you know who's playing the police officer?
No.
Mel Gibson. So yeah, there is a children's horror film starring Mel Gibson and some kids that go to hunt monsters on their island. No. That's out apparently. What else do we have here? The Forest Hills. That was released. That will be VOD. More folkloric horror. You got Edward Furlong. So this is the last appearance of Shelley Duvall. Unfortunately passed. This is her last film. So there's the draw there. We also have Operation Blood Hunt, which I did watch. It is a World War II werewolf movie about military people who are facing werewolves. And there's some fun gore here and there, but it kind of plays like a sci-fi movie that it has all the bad and good about a sci-fi movie. So go in knowing that it's not obviously Neil Marshall's Dog Soldiers. It is trying to be that. The effects are kind of cool, but not cool at the same time. So yeah, that is all 14, 15 movies that released this week. like how are you supposed to keep up with horror movies when there are 15 coming out in a single week?
That is a lot.
I'm tired.
We had one come in while we were doing that. Which horror films from the last quarter of the year are you looking forward to most?
I mean, Nosferatu is the easy answer. I can't get away from that.
I've been trying so hard to think about
like what else is left. I know, all the big stuff has pretty much come out, and it's Nosferatu was one of my most anticipated coming in. So how is that? Smile 2. That's right. Smile 2.
I'm really curious about Smile.
Curiosity is correct. That's
coming soon.
Like it looks interesting. I'm on board with the trailers. I think it's got the good approach. I mean, Terrifier 2 technically isn't out yet. It's hard because I've seen some of these. That's fair.
Yeah.
Heretic comes out later. So Heretic is still on the docket.
Oh yeah. I quite like that one.
I'm gonna stick with Nosferatu though.
Your monster leans genre, so I'll highlight that one again. Actually, that was a funny thing given the conversation we had earlier. That was my third favorite movie at Sundance 2024. So 1, 2, 3 punch of excellent movies from Sundance out now and coming your way. What else do we got?
It's Nosferatu.
Oh, I think I'm still in movies. I thought I went into news articles.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like for me, it's Nosferatu.
Yeah, I feel like that's
Robert Eggers got to make the movie he's always wanted to make, and I want to see it. Like that's the thing there. I want it to be good, so bad. Yeah, so bad. Platform 2.
Yes, I need to know.
Platform 2 is so frustrating because the simplicity of the storytelling in the platform is what makes it so good. They took a concept that is so in your face and converted it to a dystopian horror scenario that is easy to understand, is visually engaging and creative in a way that is like, how did I think of this? And sells 100% of the rage and classism and all that stuff in there. Like it's a good social commentary delivered in a method that works so simply. That is what makes the platform good. I'm never going to say why is there a sequel or why did they make something? But the Platform 2 is unnecessary because you're telling the same story again and you're using different characters and you're trying to find some inventive way to be like, okay, how do we make the same points but have it be a sequel? It doesn't. It is less visually stimulating. They focus less on the food and more on the people. And like, obviously that's what you're going to do. You're going to try to explore how these people are interacting now in the cells, let's say.
Okay.
But like, they don't put as much emphasis on the food photography, let's say.
Oh.
It is more about now a religious experience. And there is the law. There are anointed ones. There are like, that is this movie. This is so biblical in every step of the way. And that becomes the focus. And I do not think it brings anything to the table beyond religious exploitation, which is a fun conversation for a little bit. But then the storytelling just gets real janky. They try to tie this back to the platform in ways that I think fail miserably. The third act just unravels in a way that has so little continuity. I felt no control over the existence of this movie from like a directorial standpoint beyond how do I make another one of these and just throwing shit at the wall and hoping something sticks. So yeah, the platform 2 is a real disappointment.
Wow.
I really like the platform, and in no way do I ever want to tie that to platform 2.
I am definitely going to watch it eventually because I love the first one so much. But that's a
Yeah.
bummer to hear. Do you think that, I was going to say like my idea for this, but I tend to veer this way for the continuation of many horror franchises that I love so much. Do you think it might have been better if they made it less of a direct sequel and more like this is what one of those facilities is functioning like in a different part of the world?
Yes. I think that would have been interesting, but at the same time, it still is the problem that the platform doesn't need more explanation. The platform exists in this little microcosm, and that's what makes it good.
Mm-hmm.
And I think how do you explore that somewhere else in a different part of the world without doing the same thing? Like there's no variation to the platform itself.
You still run into
You're just running into the same thing. So let me put it this way. The Netflix no spoil list for this movie prohibits you from talking about at least half of the film.
Oh.
And there's so much I do want to mention, but let me just say that what I can talk about, I've said already. And again, the biggest thing for me is how this ties into the platform. And I think that's its biggest mistake. So that's literally all I can say about it. And if you ever watch it, I think you'll know exactly what I'm talking about.
Huh. Oh, what a bummer.
Yeah, I hate those no spoil lists. Like,
well, you know the spoiler of 2024 or the no spoil moment of 2024 that just like I just couldn't handle it at Sundance. Now it's not even a spoiler because it was in the trailer.
Yeah, well, that was South by too.
It's fascinating to look back on that. Again, this is not a spoiler because it is in the trailer for the movie, and eventually we're going to talk about the movie. So for It's What's Inside, when we covered it out of Sundance, one thing we were not allowed to tell anybody about was the fact that there was a body swap device in the briefcase, which is the whole premise of the movie. In the end, I can't really get mad at whatever PR company was in charge of that because ultimately they wound up paving the way to one of the biggest sales of the festival. And now it's in Netflix's hands to promote or to not promote.
But they held it at South by 2 months later. So like I had the same no spoiler, and like I kind of talked to them and like listen, do you want people to know what your movie's about? And that was the thing. Like I don't know.
I guess it's
like I get it from a standpoint of like we don't want anything spoiled, but at the same time like you basically like what's the critical point of not being able to talk about a movie and even somewhat like I'm not saying spoil the movie, I'm just saying that like you have now you've handcuffed me as a critic to not talk about anything big in your movie. So like I can't have a full take on this. Like, is this even a review at this point?
Yeah, no, I said the same thing when I reviewed it back in January. And, you know, at the time, I'll definitely reframe that situation to make it better suit a bigger sale for the movie. And I'll find peace in that. But I guess the bigger question becomes, does not being able to say that high concept right from the start hurt it in the long run? Or does the sale justify it?
Yeah, it's something that's, you know, it's not really for debate because we had no say in it or choice in it, but like it is fascinating because it's like I want to promote your movie and I want to make sure it's the conversation of like critics having to sell a movie correctly, because I think that's something that often you know, it was a conversation point. Like, you know, a critic writing a review is setting the table for how people will respond to a movie later on, and especially when it's a festival review. So it's like critics have to be as buttoned up and tightened, I feel, or sorry, not have to be, because they don't have to be if they don't want to, but should be as buttoned up and tightened with their words to not missell a movie. So it's like, if I can't tell the people or give the people at least 60% of a glimpse of your film so you understand what you're getting into, what's the point of my job?
Yeah, no, that's true. The other thing that came to mind while you were saying that is, and this happened many years ago, I would never hesitate to say, like, I loved the twist of a movie. And then someone's like, well, by saying that, you realize you reveal that there is a twist, and then people are anticipating the twist. And I'm like, oh, I could choose my words more wisely to maybe not ruin that feeling, but still convey that something cool and smart will happen.
It's
I think about that a lot.
It's the challenge of being a critic, and that's what's fun about it. Finding ways to not spoil the film, but also get people engaged. I mean, that's what we do. So like, if a PR studio isn't trusting us to do that, you know, I understand that also, because I see some critics out there who have no problem spoiling things, and they ruin things for everybody.
There is a lot of that.
Yeah.
Have you seen any comments you like? Was there other things we had to talk about?
I mean, like you tell me. I don't know. A bunch of movies came out this week that we can still.
I mean, we went through the list.
Yeah, we did go through the list. Yeah, don't watch Crazy House. Just wait for Ghetto. Honestly, I'm actually super stoked I didn't see Crazy House until now.
Oh, and we also didn't see Joker.
Oh yeah, that's fair. I mean, so like, here's the thing. Like, I saw Salem's Lot. Like, I mean, that's the biggest. Is that the biggest release this week, technically?
I think it's What's Inside is way bigger than that.
Not from a. I would argue against that, only in the sense that they're not promoting it, and everyone knows Salem's Lot, and that's a Stephen King adaptation, and that's had way more word of mouth over the years of not being released. I would argue that I know we like It's What's Inside more, but you can't deny a King adaptation. Like, that's.
I wish I was better at syncing my bookmarks on my phone. I have this one thing that I like to go to. Yeah. To see. Now I'm never going to find it.
Is it like a trending thing, or like
actually maybe it does this? It's just something that tells you, top movie. Wow. The top movie on Netflix right now, according to this, is The Platform 2. I don't even see It's What's Inside on that list. The top movie on Max is Salem's Lot.
Yep. The Platform being so, like, here's the thing. I knew The Platform was pretty much. I thought that Platform was a horror fan kind of like viral talk about.
Apartment 7A is top on Paramount+.
Oh, Apartment 7A. That came out last week, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Bad. Apartment 7A also bad.
Genuinely surprised that It's What's Inside is not on that list.
Why?
I'm disappointed.
It played 2 festivals where people couldn't really talk about it, and then they did nothing to promote it.
Right. I have not heard of this film prior to you guys putting it on your list.
Exactly. The problem.
That's the problem. You of all people, that is highly alarming to me.
Infographic came across the timeline, and I was like, the fuck is that?
It's so good. Can you please watch that before you watch the raccoon movie?
Yes. We'll watch that. I'll watch it again. I'll happily watch it again. But like, again, prime example of like someone in the industry who is high up, not even knowing about it.
Because like, would be seen.
Because that means Netflix isn't even going to like the fucking streaming editor of IGN with that information, which is a fucking problem.
I want a sequel.
Yeah. Right. But still, like,
there's a movie also that I think has great potential as a franchise and a sequel. Because I do feel like we can get into it a little more specifically when we talk about spoilers and stuff. But I do think there's a lot of opportunity to continue to reuse that idea, but with really, fresh avenues for the story, and also fresh, exciting new opportunities for actors.
Netflix paid $17 million.
Content.
It's content to them.
Ugh, I don't want to apply the C word to that movie because it's an exceptionally well-made first feature and movie, period.
I'm applying it from Netflix's point of view. That is correct, though.
Perri, I adore your channel and content. I appreciate you saying that so much. I've had the privilege of meeting Matt. Yeah. You met? Where'd you meet? Oh, that's cool. Did we not meet? Matt is Smile 2. Is Smile 2 going to suck or surpass the original?
I mean, that's the toss up.
We've been discussing this. We've been
toss-up.
discussing this as it pertains to Fantastic Fest because wait, what was the reason why that we figured out? Where is it? Did it screen the other night, or did someone just bullshit that? Because I didn't see any reactions. So we've been wondering why they didn't screen it as a secret screening at Fantastic Fest. And for all I know, there's a whole bunch of like things behind the scenes, business wise, where it did make sense or didn't make sense. My confusion lies in the fact that the first Smile debuted there and it kicked off an excellent campaign for it. The movie wound up doing really well and earning itself a sequel. Like, why wouldn't you do the same thing all over again unless you're worried about the quality of the movie and not being embraced by the Fantastic Fest crowd? So like that is a concern. It's a concern.
I mean, I'm not willing to say suck or surpass because we never know until it comes out. I mean, there have been many times where a film was buried by the studio, and like as a critic speaking, you know, we get press screenings for movies. That's how this job goes. And sometimes you won't get a press screening for something. And like 80% of the time, that is because a studio does not either care about the film or they're not going to show it to you for a reason. And 80% of the time, it is because there's a reason they don't want you to see it. But that other 20%, I'm like, why was this buried? Like Trap. Why did they not screen Trap for critics and stuff like that outside of the interviews? So the little, I guess, promotion to say through festival screenings that it has gotten to this point, I'm either seeing that as pure confidence or fear. It's one or the other.
They are screening it for critics. We watch it next week.
So I was talking about festival, like
very
festival
close
screening.
to release.
Yeah.
When there were opportunities.
Smile 2 is gonna suck. I regret to inform you both of this.
Not willing to put that in yet.
I'm not willing to believe that just yet. Based on what I've seen from the trailers thus far, I do think I think they're doing something potentially interesting with the story where they're taking the perspective from one character in the original to someone in the pop star setting could give it a really fresh feel while still playing with the same curse, which excites me. Also, the fact that Naomi Scott is in it does give me hope that there has to be some quality to it because I imagine she's got lots of things to do.
Did you not see Borderlands?
Borderlands? No, I didn't see Borderlands.
Okay,
Yeah.
the amount of talent in that film and the amount of dog shit it stacks up to.
Also, actors take roles for money a lot. Like that's.
I'm not going to say that is not true, but I do think you can't take away from the fact that certain actors attaching themselves to films does, you know.
But
I think it
signing on for a screenplay versus the final product is
of course
too.
Of course.
So I'm not.
But like you
arguing
can't accept that one thing is true without accepting that the other thing could be equally true.
No, it could be equally true. Yeah, she could be really invested in it.
It's got a good cast.
It's Borderlands had a good cast.
Well, that was an extreme example. That's
Amsterdam had a good cast.
Stop that.
You want to go down the list?
Stop that. I have too much to say about that movie.
I know.
For another video.
Everyone does.
Do we want to do It's What's Inside?
Yeah.
Thank you, Spencer.
Thank you.
I'm hoping this is a sticker that maybe we could see when we look at the YouTube video. But we appreciate your support so much.
Yeah.
So much.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay.
So they did not have a good time.
No.
No.
Yeah. That is something we'll likely discuss towards the end of the year quite heavily.
Good God.
So now I'm going to make a little banner just so we can. That's not the right show.
That's the wrong show.
This one. So first up, we are going to talk It's What's Inside. What the fuck? Non-spoilers. Does your computer type backwards as well?
Yeah.
Your computer is so annoying. It is.
It is What's Inside.
Spoilers. We're not doing spoilers yet, though. This is our It's What's Inside spoiler-free conversation. Just in case you have not heard of this movie, because apparently there are a lot of people who haven't. It is available on Netflix. It screened at Sundance earlier this year. It is about a group of friends who reunite the night before one of their weddings. And one of the friends from the group, an estranged friend, brings a mysterious suitcase to this party. Inside that suitcase is machinery that allows them to play a game that involves body swapping. I think this movie is so smart and so difficult to execute on screen. And Greg Jardin, I don't know how he did it, honestly. It is so exceptionally well done and clever. When I saw it the first time and I got full-blown obsessed with it, admittedly, I had that moment after where I'm like, was I just swept up in the thrill of it? And did I miss maybe certain holes in the story? There are no holes in this story. It works. It is sound. It is very smart. And every single time I watch it and then rewatch it again, I'm just further blown away by certain visual techniques he uses to enhance the concept. I thought this was incredible.
It's a very smart, I'm going to call it a whodunit. Like it's a sci-fi whodunit. And there are slight slasher elements here and there, but it is way more about the mystery, and that mystery does not sustain without an ensemble that is crushing it across the board.
Oh my God, they're so good.
And I mean, again, direction great. Jardin, like the execution of the idea, number one, is paramount, and that comes across in a way that is so easy to follow, despite the obvious complications that arise and could absolutely tank this story. Never goes down, and I'm just impressed by it. 100%. Like I walked out of that theater going, I was so engaged with, not usually about super sci-fi stuff. I'm going to be honest. Like it's just not what I gravitate towards. And I was in this from start to finish. It's so funny. It's so thrilling in the right moments. The suspense is upheld tremendously. So yes, that.
Yeah, all of that. I will also say, while I love some of the, I'll just call them surface level genre storytelling elements. Yeah. Like you just brought up like moments with like a little bit of slasher.
I didn't want to spoil anything.
Yeah, I could see some of that, but I think first and foremost, it's a movie that uses genre storytelling to explore how we feel about ourselves and how we feel about other people, and how sometimes stepping outside yourself and looking at yourself could change how you view yourself, and vice versa. I do think that there's a movie in It's What's Inside that's just like an absolute riveting blast to watch, a really great thrill. And then also, if you want to engage a little further, there's a lot of really smart and effective commentary on being a human being and being hard on yourself, being hard on other people, and also when to be hard on yourself and when to be hard on other people. So I think it's just smart storytelling across the board.
Yeah, it also looks like the visual storytelling is so important. Like it's not just about how it's written and how the dialogue plays out. I think, to your credit before, you said how he uses certain visuals and the way he represents the body swapping, let's say. Again, it's so smart. It makes it so clean on the screen that you can clearly decipher who is talking at what point and who is who at what point.
It's really
so you don't get lost in it.
Yeah,
it's this body swapping Clue movie in a way.
So sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just got really excited thinking about this. One thing that I really, really, really appreciated about this movie is sometimes when a movie in any genre has that mystery element, sometimes you could feel like an outsider looking in. Like if you're following a really smart detective, it's like you can believe that they piece it together, but it's less about you playing along because that character is smarter and better at their job than you would be. I think this movie is an absolutely phenomenal example of a movie that is letting you play along with the characters, where you're right there with them. And I think it's because of those smarter visual storytelling elements that, and also the performances, like they give you, the viewer, the clues to use. And that is so cool. I love this cast so much. I think they were all great. I will say one of the things that delighted me most is how James Morosini's way of carrying himself as Cyrus is just like it just seems like the one that I was able to pick up on the most because everyone is so damn good at replicating that. I was tickled by that.
Yeah, so like again, a very favorable element of this film is the way that actors have to play their counterparts, because we're talking about body swapping, like that's in the trailer, that's what this is. So you get that fun element of an actor having to play the other actor who is in their body. And like I'm a sucker for that kind of stuff. I do admit when an actor has to, like, the face off of it all, like have to replicate their doppelganger, however you want to say it.
This whole cast is great. Brittany O'Grady, James Morcini, Gavin Leatherwood, Nina Bloomgard, and Alicia Debnam-Carey, Raina Hardesty, and Devin Terrell, and David Thompson. I thought they were solid
younger cast. So it's one of those, like, you watch it and you're like, okay, cool. I can't wait to see what most of you do next. Like,
yes. I was about to say spoiler.
Don't say it.
No, I didn't. I stopped myself very at like the perfect point. Perfect point.
Yeah, parlor games are fun. It's like playing werewolf, with your friends.
No, it literally is that. Clearly we both like the movie quite a bit. I I'm not going to speak for you on this point, but I love the movie. And again, it is a very likely contender for my top 10 of the year. I have watched it like 5 or 6 times at this point, and I'm going to watch it many, many more. So I highly recommend checking it out. ASAP.
I'm just checking my scores and stuff, but it's an easy top 10 for me for horror. Like, that is exactly where it goes.
I'll take that.
I don't know how high yet, but like
I see where it is. It's pretty high on this list.
These aren't ranked. These are just how in the order I see them, and then I'll go.
I see. But it's still.
I do think it's a top 5 for me, because like if I'm gonna round out my top 5, which is just fun right now, it is Substance, Exuma, Stop Motion, Infested, and then it's What's Inside. Yeah, like they're all there. So
solid list right there. All right, with that, we are going to say goodbye to anybody who has not seen It's What's Inside. Again, go check it out on Netflix and spread the word. If you want more really, really well done original genre storytelling, we need to make sure these movies do well. So that means you should tell everybody you know about it if you like it. I see another.
I'll just get to it.
Yeah. Okay. Before we also say goodbye to everybody, tell everybody where they can find your great work.
Yeah, I am Matt Donato. At Donato Bomb, Twitter, Letterboxd, Instagram. I play around with TikTok a little bit, but way less right now. So that is just me messing around. And Blue Sky. So those are my socials. Find out everything that I do there. Also listen to my podcast, Certified Forgotten, with my co-host, Matt Monagle. We talk about horror movies with 10 or less critic reviews on Rotten Tomatoes. So we highlight films that have been quote unquote forgotten and try to give them another due. And we have some amazing guests every other week. So talking to people in the industry, having a good time, just talking about horror no one else is. So if you're one of those people that likes to hear about horror movies that you've never heard of, that is our podcast.
Go check it out. And I will take a moment to plug Collider Ladies Night. We did have a new episode go up yesterday, and it is with one of the best stunt performers in the business. And she also does way more beyond that as well. It is Zoe Bell. We had her on for the 10th anniversary of Raise, and we talked about her entire career, which is super cool because it goes from her starting as a stunt double on Xena for Lucy Lawless, and now she's gearing up to make her feature directorial debut. And she's just got such great insight and stories. So go check that out on the Collider Ladies Night YouTube channel right now. Now the super chat, and then It's What's Inside spoilers. Mm-hmm. That's all you.
Easy. I have not started yet, but I will get to it soon, Travis, because I think it's a very, very me thing. I'm not as. I need to get better at Izmaki. Like, I need to get better about reading and watching. So this is going to be like one of those kickstart points. But I do want to wait. I'm like a waiter until a few episodes are up, so I can kind of blow through them. It's just kind of how I do it. So when I get there, I'm going to.
Okay, I'll hear about it when you get there. All right, putting up the banner. Yeah. This is it.
That's it.
It's What's Inside. Spoilers begin right now. Right now. The reason I stopped myself before is when I was giving the cast roll call, people to give credit to.
Or are you gonna?
I stopped short of saying Madison Davenport, who plays Beatrice in the movie, because
that's a spoiler.
The ending. I know she's not in much of the movie before everything is revealed. Now I'm like, Amelia's fucking sitting right there, and now I feel so bad. Okay, don't listen. Don't listen. But
and now
I ruined it again.
Now you included it, yeah.
I love how I'm like, hold my ears. Hold my ears. You're not going to remember anything anyway. You're not going to remember this. I love how you're preparing because that was going to be the first thing I asked about when we wrapped the show. But I thought she was especially good, and I think that the movie does not stick the landing unless she comes in like with a powerful punch, and she very much does and owns that ending. So I appreciated her work in the movie quite a bit as well.
And it's one of those movies where like the suspense is sustained for quite a long time in a way that, you know, as someone who watches a ton of slasher movies, like how many slashers actually withhold the villain? But like we figure it out. And I think that towards the end, it does become clear who is behind everything. But at the same time, the way that we get there is still so well guarded. And the storytelling does like kind of just keep you like in this like purgatory where you're not sure about a lot of things. So I was very surprised how much of that movie I was sitting there just going like, I don't know, this is great. I love just being in this like just kind of like floating with the film and not really knowing which way it's going to turn like every other scene. It's
also very impressive how much of the movie is weighing on my mind as it pertains to individual characters, because this isn't a very long movie. It's sub 2 hours and it's got a very, very large ensemble. And the only way the movie works is if, you know, they feel like real people and you're invested in their individual situations as well as the group as a whole. In particular, I thought Brittany O'Grady and James Morosini did an exceptional job in that respect. I will say their relationship is probably the backbone or the spine, the greatest spine throughout the entire movie. And I love where it lands. I love in particular where she lands and the conclusions that she comes to. And I think it was very fitting that of all the people in the movie, that the two of them wind up back in their original bodies. So
yeah, because their you know, their storytelling is very much when it starts the couple who can't get along. And like it's very obvious at the outfront like what their trajectory is and, you know, how they actually go about it and subverting those expectations of how many times have we seen a horror movie that starts with a couple on the outs and trying to figure themselves out? And like Jardine does a really good job of taking tropes, using them in a way that is fresh and inventive, and again using them in a story that is fresh and inventive. So it's the originality and creativity is what just pulls through, and it's what's inside.
So you know, it's funny. I'm remembering back during Sundance, one of the reps working on the movie had gone to me. So you know what not to say about the movie, and I'm like, oh, like the midpoint, like when people start dying, right? And he's like, no, we don't want you to reveal the machine's existence at all, which I thought was crazy. But anyway, the reason why I bring that up is because I thought that was a really great wrinkle where you start thinking about certain characters' situations in different ways that you weren't expecting, like. But really, what would you do in that situation? What is the fair thing to do? And those people are just totally fucked, but they have to go somewhere, you know?
It's the social experiment part of it, of just, if you were like if me and Perri switched bodies and all of a sudden I had her influence and reach, would I give her body back? No. Like, why the fuck would I do that? Like, this is my channel now. Like, this is, as Perri.
What the fuck would I?
Your friend and you care about her.
Oh right, I guess that part. I'm
trying to think of what I would go and run and do.
But like that being the question of like, you know, these people who call themselves friends and like what they do when they are in, you know, one of them is an Instagrammer, one of them is very like successful, one is not.
I like that angle quite a bit too, where I think it does a really good job of assessing what social media can do to a person who is experiencing social media fame, and also what it can do to an outsider looking in and how they process what that fame means to that person. I thought that was really well. I mean, speaking of that, it's in the can, so I can promote it now. At the end of last week, which is why it's not out this weekend, we had Alicia Debnam-Carey on Collider Ladies Night, and I won't reveal all of her answers, but one of the things that I was most eager to ask her about is like, what do you think she does now? Because she does not get her body back. And as the social media influencer, that is a particularly big deal for her. And I love how I could see her story going a multitude of different ways where, you know, she comes across as a character with an extreme amount of fight, obviously. So on the one hand, I'm like, oh, she's going to like fight tooth and nail to get her body back. But then on the other hand, wouldn't it be a really interesting social experiment to have her have to stay in Ruben's body and maybe rebuild her empire from the ground up in a man's body, and seeing how that changes her experience. I thought that would be really interesting.
And I want to go back to what I said about the visual storytelling real quickly, because like I didn't even go into how they use it, because I don't know if I didn't want to spoil that or not. But the way that the film depicts, so we are watching the movie in the body swap reality where we don't know who's in whose body for a little bit, but then the film absolutely just takes the work away from you, which I think is really fucking smart. And it shows it's red, right? The color red is used.
I knew you were gonna like red.
Yeah, but it wasn't even that. It's the idea of we're gonna use this red filter and show you the people in the bodies. So we are now, like, again, it makes it easier to understand what's going on.
Very smart.
It does the explanation for you, and it just makes it more interesting because all of a sudden we see the actual people in the body and the actors portraying them still acting like there's so many wrinkles into the performances that they're keeping so tightly buttoned and being the other person.
It also just makes it that much more interesting that you could see what it looks like when the real person is experiencing it versus what it looks like when their new body is experiencing. It just goes to show how you process something differently when you're looking at a different person.
But and it's one of those things where we talk about like movies being overcomplicated or telling the story in a way that is like viable for all audiences. And I think It's What's Inside is a complicated story to tell, but finds all of the most like straightforward ways to do it.
You know what Greg Jardin said to me at Sundance, and it stuck with me quite a bit. He was defining good confusion and bad confusion, and he said something to the effect of, "I hope my movie is good confusion." It is very good confusion.
Yeah, it's good confusion.
It is it's justified confusion that pays off big time.
So many movies, I do think, go overboard and overcomplicating things. The Platform 2, I think, is a good example where it's not hard to follow, but it overcomplicates the scenario in a derogatory way. Like it exists just to exist as a sequel, and it doesn't flesh out the ideas it has. Where It's What's Inside is like so good at fleshing out the ideas, and like the roadmap is there from the start, and you never get lost. Like you're along for it.
Bringing up The Platform paves the way to this particular super chat. Sequel possibilities. Where can you see it going? I know Greg's got ideas for a sequel.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, this is part of the reason why I really want everybody to see it, because I desperately want a sequel, and I think there's a lot of potential in a sequel where it would justify the continuation of the story and spark of a franchise. But there's so many different possibilities. Like, one would think that some of them have to hunt her down.
Well, so that's the thing. It's like, do you follow the characters? That's the idea. Like, obviously, it's just talking about it. So it's like, you follow the characters you have now.
I have a hard time believing that they would ever follow her as a group. I think there's definitely a scenario where some of them say, "Fuck this! Like, I'm going about my life in whatever body I have."
Okay.
I think they're going to be a fractured group. So I do think that it doesn't. If it goes forward and it sticks with these characters, it's no longer a contained thriller.
So what if there were more machines and nobody knew it?
This I found interesting.
So, okay. So like I didn't even see that yet. Sorry. So like I wasn't going to use the schematics leaked online thing, but I was actually thinking like, what if the blueprints weren't just Forbes's? What if there were more machines out there and we get like another scenario where someone has taken the machine and wants to fuck with a new group?
Well,
like that.
That's what I kept saying about Talk to Me also. I think the Talk to Me sequel, again, I love that cast. I want to see more from all of them. But I do think the stronger Talk to Me sequel is a whole new group of friends using the hand and seeing how their experience with the hand differs. I think the same could be true here. Where and it could be such an exciting performance opportunity where we get a whole new set of actors who are given this challenge again. And that's super cool. But then on the other hand, I do think there's a lot of potential in keeping most of these actors as a group intact, because then you could just add other people, because I have to imagine that she's going to want to body jump again at a point.
Well, so that's what Wiley just said, and that's what I was thinking of too. It's like if you just follow the sister, like the sister's now drunk with power, let's say, and does just want to keep body jumping.
She can do whatever the fuck she wants.
So like maybe that's what the story is. It's not specifically one group, but it's following her as she messes with group after group after group.
Like her building a life that she wants for herself by cherry picking the things she wants from other people. I think there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah, it goes. There's, again, we're just speculating, so we can just say whatever we want. I think there's, like, what do I want to see happen here? With Talk to Me, I wanted new. With Talk to Me, I want a new group completely, and maybe like, you know, a tie-in at the end or something.
Well, I think part of it is that Sophie Wilde is on the other side, and that's how you tie it in.
So, but with It's What's Inside and the body swapping element, like, there's vengeance there. Like, there's still, we're in different bodies, and like, there is more to do with characters coming back and wanting things back. That drives a story of, all right, it's one thing if we just use the machine in a different scenario, but no, I think there's more with following the characters here and saying we're not done. Like, what the fuck? Like, there's still a lot left.
A lot of want in this situation.
Yeah.
I want more. I want more. It's What's Inside. I want really good things for Greg Jardin, who I think overproved himself as a director with this first feature. I think this cast is absolutely phenomenal. I know some of them are very busy. I think others deserve to be busier than they are. So I hope this really puts them on the map in a big way. Just
people have to fucking see it. I not to be a downer, but I was kind of bummed when Netflix bought it. I'm glad he got paid. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But I'm
not going to lie. I had the same feeling, but then when the sale was as big as it was, I did think that was really cool.
Yeah, no, that's great. Get paid,
career.
Get your money. Absolutely.
And, you know, hopefully this chart that I looked at earlier is wrong. And it's a movie that winds up catching up, because we do well know that anything can pop on Netflix and build a really big fandom. So hopefully this one winds up being one of those titles.
Yeah, but it's the stuff I don't know. It's rough.
Before we leave, very briefly, Travis had one more. Have you two checked out Saturday Night with Gabriel LaBelle? Really good, chaotic movie that keeps the tension to air the first show by deadline. So I greatly respect your opinion, Travis. I felt the exact opposite about this movie. Some people know this already. I can't remember if I said this.
Yeah, you broke it down already. Yeah,
because I did the TIFF recap. I didn't like this movie at all. In fact, it's one of those movies that I walked out quite angry after, which doesn't often happen with me. I found it to be a movie about a whole bunch of people doing bad things to each other, having big egos, and then ultimately being rewarded with a show in the end, which didn't feel right. I know that might align with how things actually panned out that evening, but in that case, then I think it begs the question, did that really needed to be adapted into a scripted feature film? And for me, it didn't. In fact, I think highlighting that story perpetuates problems that we have in this industry now and winds up celebrating them. And that makes me sad. So I did not like Saturday Night. There you go.
I didn't see it yet. So
soon enough.
I do want to get to it because the story itself is endearing to me. I do really want to see it. So
the hardest I laughed at Saturday Night, which is a comedy film, is when the Sony logo dropped and the guy sitting next to me who was desperately trying to figure out why the fuck Saturday
you
Night
saw it.
Yeah.
You saw it at Fantastic Fest.
Yeah, he was like, oh, and I couldn't get it together.
Did you like it?
It's fine.
Oh.
It doesn't even have the decency to be bad or insulting or dull. It's just, it's
one of those line movies.
My biggest concern was that it was going to be a Lorne Michaels circle jerk. It is not that. Why, it does take him to task while still kind of being like, look what you've accomplished. Yeah, I didn't love it. I didn't hate it. It's fine. Him getting called out was quite fun.
Okay. You've gotten a whole array of reactions, having not seen it, having disliked it, middle of the road. Let's see where you land.
We'll see.
We'll find out soon enough.
I don't know yet. I'll fucking watch it.
But in the meantime, we must order lunch.
Yeah,
I'm hungry. And I want to watch football. Thank you all for watching this live edition of the Merri Hour with the two of us in the same room. We will have one more next week, and then I think we're travel nightmare situation again.
Yeah, travel nightmare.
But you'll still get shows. It'll be fun. Rogers has also stood up to say goodbye.
Yeah, he's done.
No, yeah, he's over it.
Okay, bye.
All right, everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your Sunday, and we will see you. Oh, look, you can hit an outro too. Maybe I'll do that. Let's try.
Sure.
Let's see what happens. All right. We're going to play an outro and say